Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chapter 2 Club, Smart Woman's Guide to Breakups and Everything After. Today, I'm here with Tori Waber, career and leadership coach, and we're going to be talking about the 4 stages of career transition. Welcome, Tori.
Welcome. Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Excited to have you here. Let's jump right in. Let's hear about the 4 stages of career transition.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited to talk about this topic because with any transition, like a divorce, like a career transition, it can feel really overwhelming. And so my hope is that the 4 stages provide folk a framework to be able to see a path through and make career transitions a little simpler. And so I'll walk through the 4 stages that I've seen in working with folks going through career transition. That can be anything from making a minor move to your current role, minor adjustments, to a substantive shift. And in working with folks in that type of change, I've seen 4 stages that they go through. And each stage has a sort of question that you may be asking yourself. So the first stage that I see folks go through is, am I ready to leave my job? This is the moment of a real gut check. Am I happy where I am? Am I enjoying this work? Is this fulfilling? This gives you a chance to determine whether you want to stay where you are or not. And this stage can be really stressful. And so what I encourage for folks at this stage is to exhale and accept that you have the choice at this stage. You can choose to stay. You can choose to go. You can choose to stay and modify your current role. Your career choices are yours alone, and you have responsibility and the ability to choose the career that is fulfilling for you. And so when I encounter folks in this first stage, they're almost always not sure whether they can move on. And I'll say, that's up to you. You get to choose that. And my recommendation is usually to do a gut check and really check in with your gut to say, do I want to stay here? And if the answer is no, then it's time to move into other stages. The second stage that I see folks go through is, okay, I've decided to leave. Now what? What do I do with myself? And so this stage is all about exploring, investigating possible options that you might not have considered, seeing what's out there for your career. Too often folks want to jump straight into applying. And I actually encourage folks to take time just to consider what other options are out there. When you're looking to make a move, you may have a lot of choices available to you. So take the time to do informational interviews, to talk to folks about their jobs, just to check what's fulfilling for you. And I encourage that in this stage, folks explore a number of options and then hone in on 1 to 2 target roles or target adjustments to their current role, really getting a sense of what's possible and then what lands well with you, right? Connecting with yourself will yield the most fulfillment. Once you have those 1 to 2 target roles or opportunities identified, then you can move into the next stage of applying for jobs. But I encourage folks to really take time for this exploration, weeks or even months, to actually look at what's out there. The third stage is the one that most folks are familiar with. That's applying for jobs. And so the question folks ask themselves in this stage is, how do I land a job? This is where you're thinking about resumes, interviews, telling your career story. My ask is that people don't jump straight to this stage without moving through the first 2. Because if you do, you may just be sending out job applications left and right. And you may end up yielding a lot of rejection for jobs you might not even have wanted. So by doing that exploration and that decision, you can then work on honing your resume to tell your story in a way that makes sense to you and to your job that you're applying for. So you will be in a much better position in this stage if you have a few target roles that you're excited about. The last stage that I see folks go through is the transition itself. This is once you've gotten the job, and the question you're asking yourself is, how do I do this job well? Particularly if you're making a substantive change, this can be a challenge. You might be jumping into a new ecosystem, a new type of work, a new set of colleagues. And so my recommendation at this stage is to give yourself time to learn about your new space and stay in that learner's mindset and curiosity instead of being hard on yourself. Many folks want to jump straight into a new job and execute in week 2. And it takes time to actually transition effectively. And so giving yourself that window of it may take me some time, and giving yourself a lot of self-care during this time just to make sure your stress levels are under control, your sleep and your eating and all of those things are still working well while you're starting your new job, can be really important to sticking that landing in the new role. And so these 4 stages each have their challenges associated with them, but I have a lot of resources for folks available in each stage. And so if you're hearing this and want to work with a career coach or want guides to any stage of this process, I'm happy to connect with anyone, because my hope is that people are more fulfilled in their careers and willing to make these type of transitions to make that fulfillment possible.
Great. And we will put a link to your website, victoriawobber.com, underneath this video post. Thank you so much. These are really great, insightful tips. I know I was stuck at number 3, which was applying for jobs, because I also do digital marketing project management on the side. And I, was like in this panic mode, and I started applying for all these full-time jobs. And then I wasn't really thinking like, okay, well, what jobs do I really want? And, how am I going to go about doing this? I didn't really have a plan. I just started applying, and I wasn't really thinking it through. And then I realized like, well, I don't really want a full-time job. I want to do freelance for small businesses, part-time to start, and then maybe work my way up there. And I just started applying for all these full-time big corporate jobs, and it was really not what I want to do. So
There is something in us that's so used to, okay, I'll just apply. I also see folks get lost just reading job listings and saying, well, this is not me. I could never be that. And it's such an easy way to just not connect with what it is we want to do. So like you did, taking that pause and say, wait a minute, do I even want these jobs?
Yeah.
Is really important.
There's always other voices in your head, right? From whoever, right? Whether it's yourself or someone else that's telling you what you should be doing. And, just you needing to stop and think about what is right for you, which what you were saying. So, yeah.
And if there's one insight I can give to folks instead of the shoulds, is the what do you want? That's a question we often don't ask ourselves in jobs. We think what will make the most money, what will give me prestige, what will be convenient. Sitting there and saying, what do I enjoy doing?
Yep.
What do I want to do? And how do I make that a reality? Really different. But my hope is that if folks do that, they're in more fulfilling careers than if they're just chasing after the next big role.
Yep, totally agree. Well, thank you so much, Tori. This is wonderful. And our audience out there, you can find more resources on our website at chapter2club.com. And we will also put a link to victoriawobber.com into the post as well. So we'll see you all next time. Thank you.